いたずらな言葉が溢れるいつもの午後退屈な毎日に風が吹いた
Hello everyone. Today we'll be unboxing another figurine for the week. Here we have is a figurine from the manufacturer's Wav Corporation. A figurine part of their Dream Tech line is a 1/7 scale PVC figure of the character Uzaki Hana in a cow bikini from the series Uzaki-chan wa Asobitai or Uzaki-chan Wants to Play. As always, before we take the figurine out of its packaging, just in case you didn't know, Uzaki-chan wa Asobitai or Uzaki-chan Wants to Play is a manga series originally serialized in Nico Nico Seiga's Dra Dra Sharp and also Kadokawa Shoten's Dra Dra Dragon Age magazine in 2017 by the mangaka Take. The series also has gotten an anime adaptation with the same name, Uzaki-chan wa Asobitai or Uzaki-chan Wants to Play by Studios NG in 2020. There's also a season 2 named Uzaki-chan wa Asobitai Daboru or Uzaki-chan Wants to Play Double in 2022 by the same Studios NG. So as you can see here, this is Uzaki-chan's box rotating in 360 here in the background. So without holding you guys back, let's just take Uzaki-chan out of her packaging and see how the figurine looks. So before continuing on, this box does have a little bit of a tie here, so just make sure you unravel that so then you're able to open the plastic. So now here we have is Uzaki-chan straight out of her packaging. So as you can see here, we have is Uzaki-chan wrapped with plastic. Not too much plastic, but it seems like the figure arrived in perfect condition. You can see her base here, and besides that, there's not really much else to show, so let's just remove all of this and see how the figurine looks up close. So here we have is the base, which you can see here, just like the additional 2 past figurines they released, such as Tsuki and Yanagi. The base is actually a lot similar to that. You can kind of see here they gave it kind of a mixed media feel base with a little bit of a little designed edge around the base, which is actually quite detailed, and I really do like that. And in the top here, again, just like I stated earlier, a little bit of mixed media, like a soft material here on the top portion of it. And you can kind of see here we do have is the peg here on the base, which is like a metallic beam there where you do place Hanagi's leg on top of. And besides that, at the bottom here we do get its information for the figurine. Here we have its 2022, Take, Kadokawa, and other information for the figurine. But besides that, there's not really much else to show you. The bottom does have a little bit of a section here where you can kind of see they connected the top fuzz into the base. But besides that, there's not really much else to show you with this, so let's just move on to the next piece. So here we have it, Uzaki-chan here, her figurine in her bikini outfit. So just like with other figurines, we're going to be starting here with her shoe area. And as you can see here, it's actually painted quite well. It actually looks really great. You can see here on her right leg, she does have an insert hole where you do connect her onto her base. And also looking closely, you can kind of see the little pink section of her heels have a little bit of a glossy finish, and also has a little bit of a sparkly hue around it, which actually looks really well. You can see here she has a white heel, but kind of has a mixture of a little bit of a green yellowish type tint around it, which it's not too much of a bother. I feel like they could have made it like just pure white but maybe because again she's in a cow bikini, it could kind of represent like she's walking around grass. But I don't know why it has that, but I guess it's just a design choice. So as you can see here, we have is her high socks, and just like it stated, it is a cow bikini, and you can kind of see it does have the spotted black and white pattern around the sock, which again, if you look closely, there's actually a little bit of detail here with a little bit of creases around the fabric, you know, to represent the kind of the creases when you do like bend a little bit forward, because a shirt or like a pants isn't going to be straight. There's going to be like creases on it. Here in a closer shot by her thigh area, you can kind of see here the socks are actually pressed up against her thighs, so it gives it like a thick feel, which actually looks really detailed. Here we have is the strings for her underwear, and again I feel like the little ties are a little bit delicate, but here in this front portion we also get a little bit of detail here when it comes to the little lines of the fabric, which is actually quite detailed. Here's the other side of her hip, which also has another strings, but again, do be a little bit careful with it because I feel like it's a little bit of a delicate part, so just be careful when you are handling the piece. Here on the top portion we have is her tail. As you can see here, you can see her old underwear there goes around her thighs and into her bottom section there, and this tail here again is actually really stiff. I did flick it a little right now, but it's actually it's sturdy, but again I kind of advise do be careful with that. You don't want to accidentally flick it too hard and snap the tail. But the tail is somewhat detailed, but not as detailed, but it still looks like a pretty great sculpt. Here on the front we do get a little section here where you can kind of see a little bit of a hip, and also you can kind of see her stomach with her belly button. And here on the top portion we do get her little knot here for her bikini top for her bosom area, and she's actually quite large, which makes sense because, you know, she has pretty large bosom area because she's Uzaki-chan. Here we have is a side view portion here of the bosom, which is actually really big, and here on this side you kind of get a detail here. You can kind of see where the light's not hitting it. You can kind of see all this detail from her back section there, which is actually quite really a great sculpt there. At the bottom here we do get is her hair with a mixture of gray and black from her dad and the gray from her mother. So here we have is our other side here where we get another closer shot here of their other side of her bosom area. From the back you can kind of see it's quite large actually, and you do get a little bit of her armpit there. Here's the underside of it, and here's the top of how her breasts look. And again, detail section here looks really well sculpted, and you can kind of see where the light's not hitting it. You kind of see a little bit more detail. Here's a closer shot where you can kind of see a collarbone, but because she has this bell here, it's a little bit hard to actually see that section there. But again, it still looks a little bit detailed. You can kind of see it a little behind that bell, and the bell's actually quite shiny. And looking at her breast here a little bit closer, her little bra section is actually pressed up against it, so you can kind of get like a more soft feel around her breast area. Here we have is her left armpit here, going up to her arm, what do you call it, long sleeve, the glove, which has the same pattern as her leggings. Yeah, you can see here it goes around, and you can kind of see her fingers. They're actually quite detailed when they're all close together like this. It's there's not actually any overlapping plastic that makes it look off, which is actually a really nice touch there. Here on this side we get is another section here of the cloth on her gloves, which looks quite detailed here. And this section here, she's actually has a ball joint, so you actually can pose her head however direction you want her to look, which is actually a plus, and I really do like that about the figurine. You could do the same thing for the other Tsuki and also Yanagi figurine that they do have for this line. Here's another shot of her face where you can kind of see they gave it a bit of a glossy finish around her eyes, and they actually did a pretty nice job on her face. She does have eyebrows underneath, but her front bangs are covering it, so it's actually a little bit not noticeable, but once you change their face, you can actually see how her eyebrows look, and you can kind of see the tag there does say Hana, and her hair has has the little ears of the cows and also has a little horn there, which is kind of cute. Again, because she is wearing a cow bikini, it fits with the sculpt. You can kind of see we also get little ears here on the side of the cow as well. Same thing with the horns on the top portion here, which actually looks really well sculpted. And you can actually remove her head. Where you do see is the ball joint here, which again this looks a little cursed, but it's something to show you guys of how the ball joint looks, so you're able to position her head however direction you want her to face. And we do get is a better shot here of the bell, and you can kind of see is her collar there holding on, the bell holding onto the collar, which again looks quite detailed. We get a better look here on her back of her hand and her palm here, which actually looks really well detailed. And again, just like I stated, there's no overlap in plastic around her fingers that makes it look a little bit off. And honestly, the sculpt here, the paint job and everything looks really amazing. Here we have is a better portion of her back head there, where you see the rest of the sculpt of the little collar she has. But again, placing her head on top of, or connecting her head there, so connecting her head back, I did want to mention that her head here, by this section here of her hand, kind of gets really close, so you do end up hitting her back hand there. So when you are moving her head around, just be careful that you don't accidentally scrape the paint from the glove or the paint from the hair onto the glove. So that's the only kind of thing that I do see that's a little bit of an issue, but it doesn't really overall ruin the figurine. The figurine looks actually really great, and this looks like a great addition with the other family members that they do have in cow bikinis as well. And the figurine looks really good. So let's just connect Uzaki-chan onto her base and show you with the next part of the figurine. We are going to change her face to a different facial expression. What you do get is another embarrassed look, but according to the box it does say Sasuga ni terechatta hyojo ni patsu kokan dekimasu, or you can change her to an embarrassed expression. As you see here, she has a little bit of a more of a different face, an embarrassed face compared to this one. So from here you do actually take her front bang areas and you actually pull it a little bit out. And just make sure you kind of do it slowly, not with too much force, to avoid any breakage. But from here you do actually disconnect it. You can kind of see here her eyebrows, which is her regular facial expression, as you can see here. And from here we do get is her little embarrassed. As you can see here, it's a little bit different. You can kind of see her eyes are a little bit more closed. She's a little bit more embarrassed with the lines around her face. Her mouth is a little bit more closed, and her little fang there is on the opposite end. You can kind of see her eyebrows are a little bit more lifted upwards to, you know, express a more embarrassed expression, which is a little bit cute. So here we're going to connect this here to her head here. As you can see here, don't put too much force on it, just to avoid any breakage or smudges. And then you place her front bangs onto the actual head. And that should give you the little swap out piece of her embarrassed face. So let's just place this onto her body, and I think that should actually complete the figurine. So I'll switch the faces without me speaking, so you guys can also see that without me talking. That completes all the family members besides the brother. All the characters here. in a bikini outfit, as you can see here. So as you can see, this is all the characters from Tsuki Mama to Yanagi to Hana. And I did not do a video unboxing for Tsuki Mama, but I did do one for Yanagi, and they're actually really well painted, and I really do like each of their sculpt here and the cow outfit, but it still looks great nonetheless. You can kind of see here is Hana right here, the main one we did for this video, and then also you can kind of see they all have each swappable embarrassed faces, from Tsuki Mama with her eyes open. You have his Yanagi with a little bit of a change with her little bit of embarrassed face, and then we obviously seen how Hana looks with her swapped out face. Here's a back portion of each of the characters, and they all actually look really well sculpted. Their paint jobs are actually really great, and they all look actually really amazing as a separate piece itself. So if you do get all of these, this is how they would look all together. So I don't really have much bad to say of any of the pieces. They actually all look really amazing, and as you can see here, I actually really like all of them complete. But if I had to choose, obviously I do like Tsuki a lot more than the daughters, but that's just me. And just like I stated earlier, they do all come with their own individual faces. As you can see here, an embarrassed Tsuki face, an embarrassed Hana face, and you also get a swap out head sculpt here for Yanagi, which kind of makes sense because I don't think they ever showed her eyes, so giving you an extra head sculpt kind of does make sense, because like I said, I don't think they ever showed her eyes, but the two characters do always have their eyes, so which is why you get a face rather than a head sculpt. So I'm not going to talk in this segment, I'm just going to leave you guys with a little bit of closer shot here of all the characters here before we continue to the end of the video. Alright guys, so that was Wav Corporation's Dream Tech 1/7 scale PVC figure of the character Uzaki Hana in a cow bikini from the series Uzaki-chan wa Asobitai Dabaru, or Uzaki-chan Wants to Play Double. So all in all, I gotta say is the paint job, the sculpt of the figure look really amazing. I think that maybe because we saw the pop-up parade, which was not good, compared to this one, which looks really great. There's not really much bad I can say about the figurine. It actually looks really good. I don't really think they're going to be continuing on the line. I think this is the final character here with all three, mother, sister, and Hana herself. I don't think they're going to make a Bull Fujio Uzaki, which is the father, or a Bull Kitty, which, relax, I don't think they're gonna make that. Hold on, so I had to add this in a couple of minutes after I made that statement. Guys, there is a drawing of Fujio in a cow bikini. Oh my god, yo, imagine this as a figure. That would be crazy if they do something like this. But I did want to mention this because there is a drawing of that. So I did want to add that. So going back to my original statement, it would be funny if they do, but I think that actually completes all the female characters in cow bikinis according to the family, but it looks great nonetheless. So I don't really have much else to add. If you have not seen Uzaki-chan wa Asobitai, it's a fun little series. I think I heard a little bit of a controversy about it because of her breast size and stuff like that. Who cares about that? The series is a fun little watch, so I highly recommend it if you have not checked it out. But anyways guys, that's going to be the end of this one. I don't want to keep holding you guys back, so I'm going to leave you guys off with the figurine rotating in 360 and other close-up shots of the figurine. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Imagine a kitty and Fujio figure.
たいところに行きたい時一緒に行けたら素敵ですね楽しいことなんでも誰かとシェアしたらもっともっと楽しいです遊びたいってずっと言い続けていたいんですそれが私からあなたへのメッセージですうざがらみがうっとうしいなんて随分ですねそれは多分照れ隠しまあ何にしたって毎日をなんだかんだエンジョイしちゃってます私うざかわいい毎日うざかわいい今日はちょっとコーディネートいつもと変えました髪型メイクもちょっと違うんです今日だけの特別なんだかわかりますか早く気づいてさあどこだ早くさあどこだブブタイムアップなんか噛み合ってない手首だってロマンティックなコメディみたい今の私では何でもこうって感じだ正真正銘青春真っ最中ただ踊れや面白そうなこと面白がって一緒にやれたら素敵ですね一人で楽しいことは二人ならもっと熱くなれそうです遊びたいってずっと言い続けるしつこさが二人の距離感を近づける原動力たまには誘われてみたいって思ってないけどいつかきっとありえるし一期一会毎日がスペシャルセレブレーション嬉しいはいはいおいしいはいはい素敵うざかわいいはいはいおかしいはいはい気持ちいいはいはい楽しいうざかわいいはいはい嬉しいはいはいおいしいはいはい素敵うざかわいいはいはいおかしいはいはい気持ちいいはいはい楽しいうざかわいい何度も笑って泣いて笑ってすべてが愛しい思い出になるよ単純に遊びたい行きたいところに行きたい時一緒に行けたら素敵ですね楽しいことなんでも誰かとシェアしたらもっともっと楽しいです遊びたいってずっと言い続けていたいんですそれが私からあなた